Hello everybody, my name's Jade and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite books of 2016. So before we get started, I wanted to let you guys know a little bit ahead of time. This video is going to be particularly short because there's only going to be 4 books on my favorite books of the year list. That doesn't mean I didn't read a lot of good books this year, and it also doesn't mean I didn't read a lot of bad ones. Honestly, it was a pretty so-so reading year for me. But aside from that, the reason that there's only 4 on this list is because I didn't feel like rounding my list up to 5 to fill a kind of quota. There were only 4 books that really stood out to me this year, and they are the books that I want to showcase with you guys because I'm really excited about them. So without any more ranting, let's just get on to the list now, shall we? So coming in at number 4, I have And I Darken by Kirsten White. This book follows our 2 main characters, Radu and Lada, who are the prince and princess of Wallachia. And in their adolescence, they are taken away from Wallachia to the Ottoman Empire by the Sultan because their father ended up making a mistake grave enough that he ended up giving them away in order to keep his throne. So once they get to the Ottoman Empire, the 2 of them had to decide, do I want to learn how to survive in this new world and thrive in it, or do I want to work on taking revenge on the people who wronged me? Whether it be the Sultan or their father or whoever they meet along the way, they have to make these decisions for themselves now. And oh my gosh, I love this book. Granted, it was really slow. It is close to 500 pages, and this is definitely not a book for everyone because it is so slow. But I appreciated it being so slow because you really get a chance to soak in the character development and all the world building. Kirsten White put a lot of research into this book. It is supposed to be a retelling of Vlad the Impaler, so she had to do a lot of work in terms of putting together a setting that really represented the time that the original Vlad the Impaler story took place in, and she did an excellent job. I loved it, and her characters were great. I loved them. I loved Radu and Lada for their own reasons. Radu is such a sweetheart, and Lada is such a ferocious badass, and I loved her. And Kirsten White knows how to show us that she has a badass female character rather than tell us that she has one, because God, is Lada badass. If you want a character that shows you, read about Lada. Seriously. Like, she's not only just this ferocious, stubborn female character that we're seeing a lot in YA right now. She's strong in a lot of ways besides her brawn. She's really smart. She knows that she can take advantage of certain situations, and she knows that she's at a disadvantage in others. And she knows that she needs to be careful because being a woman in this time, no one's going to take her seriously. She knows that that's a thing that she needs to overcome, and if she wants to get things done, she's going to need to build up some allies behind her to have her back, so that way when she wants to get done, there's people to support her. So not only were the characters great, but man, did this make me a temporary supporter of the love triangle trope. I don't like love triangles. I don't appreciate them. I don't support them. I think they're totally overused in YA right now, and most of the time they're completely unnecessary. But this book, it actually added a lot to the story by including a love triangle, and I loved it. I love the love triangle and its elements. Most people might not consider it a love triangle because it's between Radu and Lada and their love interest rather than backwards, but that's fine. I still thought it was a love triangle because I don't know how else to describe it, and I loved it, and I was happy for them and sad for them and angry for them, and it was just all around a good time. This is the one time where I've really liked and appreciated a love triangle. So yeah, it's a really special addition to my favorites list just because of that reason alone. It's because I don't like them, but I like this one. I'm really confused. You can tell. So coming in at number 3, I have A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Trust me when I say that if you're going to read this book, you should know as little about it as physically possible before you go into it. Don't look into any reviews, and please don't watch the movie because this is an incredible experience that I suggest everyone has a chance to explore, and you will enjoy it so much more if you know less about the story. The story follows our main character named Connor, who is visited by a monster in the middle of the night, and that's all you need to know. That's the only thing you need to know going in, aside from the fact that the story is about grief and loss and how to deal with that grief and loss. And this is just the storytelling in this book is absolutely phenomenal. I loved his relationship with the monster, and I loved his relationship with the people around him in the story. And it was incredible. It was very touching, and I almost cried when I read it. And I'm not a cry reader. I don't cry when I read, and when I do, it has to touch me in a very particular way in order for me to get that emotional about it. But no, this book was just fantastic, and I would recommend it to basically anyone, regardless of their reading style. I suggest everyone read this for sure. Coming in at number 2, I have Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Holy crap, was making this my first V.E. Schwab read ever a good idea? I have read A Darker Shade of Magic and The Savage Song since, but I am still extremely thankful that I read this one of hers first, because it blew my mind. It made me think a ton about my own morals and a whole bunch of other stuff. And its characters were freaking fantastic. I loved everything this book had to offer. It follows our two main characters, Victor and Eli, who are best friends in college. And in college, they're experimenting with the idea of, are superpowers innate and are you born with them, or are they made later on in life under certain circumstances? And 10 years after that fact, they are at a battle to the death. It is so good. It made me think so much, and oh, its characters were so good. I loved all the characters. Even the super scummy ones that you're not supposed to like, I liked all of them. They were all amazing. I loved the story that it told. I loved how morally gray all the characters were. And I loved that I couldn't pinpoint until about halfway in the novel who the good and bad guys were in the story. And the reason I say that is because they are so morally gray that you're kind of flip-flopping between Victor and Eli, trying to decide who's the real good guy and who's the real bad guy. And God, it was just fantastic. And I loved that I could flip-flop like that. And I loved that it made me think about so many things. And it did. It just blew my mind. And I loved it. I'm so thankful that she published it. And I'm so thankful I got the chance to read it and got to meet her. And she's one of my favorite authors, which is, you know, amazing. She is an amazing person. Her books are amazing. She's just fantastic. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this one. This one was extraordinary. It was such a good time. So coming in at number 1, my favorite book of 2016 was The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Oh, I don't even have words to describe how this book affected me in the end. I can tell you that it's about our main character, Liesel, who's a foster child in World War II Germany, and how she grows up with her new family in this time of crisis and the things that go on alongside of that. But I don't really have words to describe how amazing this book is. Every single word in here was critical for character development. The world building was out of this world. I loved it. I loved the point of view that was used to tell this story, which for those of you who don't know, is told from a third-person point of view, but the third-person point of view is personified and it's given a name, and that name is Death. It's told from Death as he watches over Germany during World War II and then focuses on Liesel's life and the things going on around her. This has been everything I've ever wanted in a book, hands down. And whenever I do reviews now, especially for advanced copies that I receive from HarperCollins or for Penguin Random House, this is the book I compare them to. Not necessarily for content, but just for the way it made me feel. It made me feel things in a way that I haven't before when I've been reading. This is the one of 2 books ever in my adult life that have made me cry. And I felt like Liesel was a real person. I felt like I was reading a biography and not a fictional piece of work, because I felt like she was such a real person, and I connected with her and was invested in her story. And when I felt happy and sad and angry for her, it was such a strange experience. And I watched the movie before going into this book. I had watched it on a plane, which, you know, doesn't fully match up with the book, but most of them don't. But anyway, I watched it, knew exactly what was going to happen if it stayed true to the book, and I still cried anyway. I was a mess. It was such an incredible historical fiction novel, and it really blew away my expectations of what a historical fiction work could be. It was absolutely amazing. It was great. So those are my favorite books of 2016. Feel free to leave a comment down below if those were some of your favorite books as well, or if you had your own favorite books that you think I should read this year. I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments if you're interested in telling me more about them. And yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!